Well, Ford leaders answer questions today on the UAW strike at the Kentucky truck plant. WDRB's Chris Otts was on that call. Chris, did you get more insight about what brought us to this point, the escalation of pulling in KTP?
Yeah, there's a disagreement, basically. It depends on who you talk to between the union and the company. But, the union saying that they thought the company owed them more on the economics, the wages, the benefits, and the company saying that they had already put their best offer on the table. And in fact, one thing that really stood out to me from today's call with the media is a top Ford executive basically saying that this is as far as they're going to go in terms of wages and economics.
We have been very clear that we are at the limit. And like I just said, Keith, we stretched to get to this point. Going further will hurt our ability to invest in the business like we need to invest.
Yeah, and so what they're saying is that they can shift some dollars around, but in terms of a total cost of what they've offered to the UAW, they are kind of drawing a line and saying, we don't have any more to give.
This is the line in the sand, and now it's we're watching on who's going to give.
Now,
Will
of course,
Ford
it's
come
all
up?
rhetoric, and who knows what's true. But
exactly. So one of the issues that came up on that call, I'm told, was the EV battery plants. We know that the largest one's being built down the road in Glendale, Kentucky, Hardin County. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Yeah,
this is one of the biggest points of confusion in these negotiations. So apparently GM has agreed to fold in these battery plants. And Ford has said all along that, hey, we can't make the battery plants part of the UAW contract. We haven't even hired the workers yet. They have to choose UAW representation. Well, today they're saying that, yeah, we are talking with Ford about the battery plants, but they will really not give any specifics about what exactly that means, what they think that Ford can do within the confines of these negotiations to satisfy the UAW on the battery plants. And the UAW hasn't really spelled out exactly what they want, other than they've been clear they want job security in the transition to electric vehicles. The big concern is that if the industry moves this way, they want to be part of it and not left behind.
Do we see a scenario where agreements will be made individually? We're striking all three right now.
Yes.
We're seeing a strike with all three. Do we see GM gets to the finish line first, or Ford gets to the finish line first, or Stellantis gets to the finish line first, and those workers all go back into their plants?
A phrase is coming to mind because it's been said by the UAW so many times in the last few months, everything is on the table. So yes, it's entirely possible they reach a deal with one of the companies and not the others. In general, they try to keep these companies on similar terms. The way they've done this in the past is they pick one company to negotiate with, basically hammer out those terms and say to the other two, this is what we expect you to agree to as well, so that a UAW job at GM or Chrysler or Ford is roughly the same. And so that's what they're going for here with these negotiations, but it's entirely possible that they can get to the finish line with one and not the others, and that would just put more pressure on the others.
All right, Chris, you've been reporting on this from the beginning. We'll look for your latest article right now on WDRB.com. Thank you.
Well, Metro